Hey guys, it's been a while. Well, quite a while. Anyways, I'm back with a video. It's about an anime. Yes, I got into anime. And this is Spirit Chronicles we are talking about today. Basically, a guy died in a train accident on a bus apparently. And he gets reincarnated as a human named Rio in a fantasy land. Good basic isekai anime. But there's a lot of stuff that happens which kind of makes it stand out and kind of makes me mildly disappointed in some things that could have happened, but all around, a decent anime. The warnings first, before we get into all that. First off, spoiler warning, of course, because I'm going to be talking about the series, meaning that there are going to be spoilers. So watch the series before this video if you feel like you wanted some context. Second off, the editing in this video is not going to be the best because I just started and decided not to watch the tutorial, so yeah, brace yourself for that. And B, I won't be including the manga because I feel the anime should tell me any essential information that would have been in the manga. With that all the way, let's get into this. I like how the reincarnation is dealt with and how Rio uses his skills he had in his past life to get ahead in this one. Like his martial arts and his math skills later when he joined the academy. It kind of gives us an insight of who Haruto was in his daily life, outside of flashbacks, which you only get to see a few times. I like how Rio was not just the only one who got reincarnated, which makes it more realistic and intrigues the watcher's curiosity about what other people Rio may meet on his journey. Like, not many anime actually do this. Konosuma's the only one that I can actually think off the top of my head that actually explores this concept a bit more. And Shield Hero, but I don't feel like that actually counts. Anyway, the reincarnation's just cool. I also really like how frustrating some of the characters are, and I mean the ones you meant to be mad at. You really would kind of wish that Ryu would punch one of them one day or rip them apart verbally. I would also like to comment on the character designs, and the art style in general, too. Everything looks bright, and the characters look cool and unique because of it. Sorry if that was a bit sudden, those are just some things I like about the anime. Now, let's get into some of my problems with it. When people talk about something bad about this anime, it's mostly about the pacing or any stiff animations. My problem personally are more with the characters, three to be precise. Charles, Flora, and Kirito. Sorry, I mean Rio. Let's talk about Charles first. Charles Arbor was supposed to be the main guy who we were supposed to be mad at for being real for a crime he didn't commit, and later trying to marry Syria through blackmailing her house. This would lead you to believe that he is the mind of Spirit Chronicles, which is not the case. These two are on different levels in Mind's favor. Mind accused Naofumi of assaulting her, because the king didn't like the shield hero, as well as the state, and the other heroes did not know Naofumi well. These are good reasons because all parties could have thought Naofumi was a bad person before this. While Charles' reasons were basically Rio was the only suspect, and catching the crook would save some faith for himself. First off, even if you do catch the kidnapper, I don't think the king would overlook the fact that Rio's a child that, to their knowledge, do not know how to use magic. So I would not be surprised if the king reacted in any way other than anger that the vice captain let his daughter get kidnapped by a mere child. And they want me to believe that this is the same guy who helped put an end to a war and blackmailed a famous house into working for him? Yeah, right. Charles could have been a better character than just another cliche dumb noble who looks down on common folk just because. Someone in Charles' situation should not be trying to prove Rio is guilty. He should be trying to prove his innocence. Not because he believes in ethics or believes in social equality. It's because he cares whether or not he'll look good in front of the king, so he doesn't have to go tell him that his daughter was kidnapped by a child. This could also lead into the bigger idea that Charles, a character, could revolve around his ego. No matter if he's dealing with a peasant or noble, he would try to respect both and look favorable to both. Like, instead of him denying the fact that he lost the duel against him and Rio, he would act like he accepted the loss in front of the people to make himself look humble, but still vent about it to his friend afterwards because he's not really that humble. He's just holding back his emotions. And then the scene where Rio was interrogating Latifah, if Latifah said Charles's name instead of Stewart's, this actually could have been a bit more impactful for Rio, because in our version, Charles would have seemed like a decent guy and very respectable to Rio, who even helped him out. So hearing he had a hand in this would probably bring more disgust to Rio later on, and make him feel betrayed now, especially when he would start to investigate Charles when he tried to marry Celia. Overall, I get that there's many noble antagonists in anime that fulfill the role of attracting that love-hate from fans. And I will admit, Charles isn't that big of a exception from it. But I feel that he still could have been more than just that. He is the main one of the show. He could still be more than just another noble looking down on the peasants. I feel that's enough said about Charles. Let's talk about Flora. Flora throughout the first arc was the damsel that Rio always saved, then got punished to advance the story. That's all she was. But fans think she's one of the best girls because at the end of the first arc, she was the only other person other than Celia to finally stood up for Rio. Even though to her knowledge, Rio's either dead or is very much injured seeing as he fell from a cliff. Even then, the effort of that was wasted when we cut back to the academy scene where they are literally overlooking the princess's word, not even saying why. First off, to our knowledge, the royal family is not constitutional, so they probably have the power of any royal family in a story, but the story itself never actually gave us a reason otherwise, so okay. You'd think they would listen right away to the princess's word, but the story never actually gave us a reason why they didn't. Look, I get if they actually listened to Flora that the plot would not have advanced, but still, realistically, why didn't they just say Flora lost her footing and let that be the end of it, and then satisfy both parties instead of not taking one party's word into account, then bringing a solution that wouldn't satisfy both? Anyways, getting back on track, they built up Flora standing up for Rio throughout the entire episode, yet they essentially invalidated it at the last minute. I feel there should be more moments where Flora stands up for Rio, because if Rio really needs to become a criminal, then I feel like they should not invalidate Flora's big moment near the end of the arc. Because Flora was introverted and shy, in contrast to her sister, who was extroverted and confident. Of course, this is a classic twins are opposite thing, but those negative traits of Flora was overcome for Rio's sake, which made the scene even better for her. Like, let's say there are more scenes where Flora tries to stand up to Rio, and then sometimes Christina would stop Flora saying that they're royalty. In an attempt to stop her, then Flora will get a little frustrated. This will not only make Flora look less like a damsel like the original scene intended to, this also will not devalue Flora's development from the original scene. Look, I get that sometimes story needs a damsel character, and I get princesses helping heroes is a tale as old as time. But when the damsel's not trying to be the damsel, but the development is treated like nothing afterwards, then I have a bone to pick with the writing. I felt that Flora could have actually been a more impactful character on Rio, as opposed to the girl he always had to go and save. Speaking of which, let's finally talk about Rio. Rio is our main protagonist that got hit by a train while on a bus as Haruto Amakawa in his past life. Then, he got reincarnated as a peasant in the Straw region after his death. From here, we follow him on his adventures, honing his skills while he travels across the regions to get to his family's homeland of Yagamo. While you would think suddenly getting transferred to a school of nobles and consistently getting picked on by said nobles would lead to more development after he left the country, it really didn't. At best, he decided to go back to find the guy who killed his parents after he finally found someone else he wanted to kill. Rio never showed any real anger, didn't feel like he changed throughout the series, and never displayed any overarching character problems. And that really is kind of an issue when he was basically mocked by his peers for years just for being a peasant and didn't even burst in anger even once and was beaten for a crime he didn't commit, then automatically trusted the person who was associated with the people who beat him up. Like, give us some reaction. Even Sarah and Orpheus said in the Spirit People log that Rio was acting kind of distant to them, yet they showed some scenes where they're getting along pretty well. Like, not only they didn't set this up, but even the answer was just, Rio did not have good social skills. Rio was betrayed by the guy who killed his mother, as shown in the Yagumo arc, then saw how far his classmates went just to kick him out the academy, and only ever trusted Celia. Him developing trust issues to new people would only be natural, yet they decided to make a moment of potential character development into telling the audience that Rio had social issues like every other isekai protagonist. Something I would fix about Rio is that we would hear more of his thoughts instead of him always keeping a poker face and not knowing what he's actually feeling. We could hear some inner thoughts about him and how much he wants to cheer out the nobles for picking on him, but know how much trouble it would be and doesn't. Then he could vent about to Cecilia later. This would make Rio feel a lot more human and give Rio some character issues to fix along the way. Because throughout the series, Rio has basically been a Kirito, powerful, a nice guy, and does not have any real character flaws. But Rio has a dramatic past. I get that Haruto is basically dropped into Rio's body, so the events may not have as much of an impact on him, but it should still have some impression on him. Like, this is basically his first view into this world, and he remembers his apparent mom getting murdered by someone they trusted. You cannot tell me that wouldn't influence his views on people in this world. Sorry if I sounded a little mad. It's just, Rio didn't have to be a generic isekai protagonist. He basically had the makings to be a more complex character that grew throughout the first season, but as I explained, that was unfortunately not the case. That's all I wanted to say about Spirit Chronicles. I will probably make a part 2 to explain how my rewritten versions of Flora, Charles, and Rio would actually fit into the plot, but that's for later. Either way, no matter how cliche Spirit Chronicles feel, I still feel Spirit Chronicles is still a decent anime. While it does feel like a common isekai anime, I had fun watching the first season and can't wait for the second. But if I had one overarching complaint, it's the slow on the pacing. It could have fit in more world building and character growth. Anyways, this is the end of the video. If you liked the video and want to see what I'm posting next, you know what to do. Anyways, with that said, thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.